As sporting in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Polish Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Vitality. It is Solar. And both players that went down respectively in their own mirror matchups. MaNa to Shutdown, Solar to Rogue. Now they're facing off against each other in that lower bracket. And we'll see how they compare. MaNa does force the unnatural natural out of Solar. Not bad. I mean, we saw MaNa was quite aggressive against Shutdown earlier, and I'm curious if that translates over to this matchup as well. Likewise, so is Solar. I think that's a running theme here between these two players. Like, Solar was also hyper aggressive against Rogue, going for a 12 pull, going for a Roach all in, off of 1.5 bases. We shall see. For now, standard opener, hatch gas pull out of Solar. Just a more awkward location for the natural base. Outside of that, we're settling in. Likewise, gate expand into Cybercore out of MaNa. Everything looking as it should. We are going to be settling in again. MaNa, I feel like he was flying under the radar last year. We weren't really able to see too much of him. This year, MaNa has been a little bit more impressive to me. I'm always going to remember it was in the weeks leading up to DreamHack Dallas, into DreamHack Dallas, where MaNa was able to bring down Big Gabe in an ESL Open Cup, for example. MaNa able to bring down some of the other Polish Protoss players like Geralt and Cristiano to show that he is, still one in contention for the best Protoss in Poland. MaNa has had his moments this year, but having a harder time at Dallas. We'll see if he can bounce back. But now, Stargate opener. Everything looking normal from MaNa. I don't really recall MaNa being too unorthodox in PvZ. I don't think he's really one to go into Glaive Adepts from here. We'll keep an eye out for that. But I feel like MaNa's strengths lie in the mid game. See, that does shade across the map. That doesn't get a drone. Nice sport trick out of Solar. Pulls away, saves his workers. And it's just going to be droning up and keeping up with the aggression of MaNa, keeping up with the Adepts and keeping up with the Oracles. Solar's going to take a more defensive stance here back at home. That first Oracle is on the way. Ooh, Ling did slip in. Uh-oh. We get a free scout of the main. We're fully aware of the tech and the initial unit. As the Oracle moves out, Lings are moving in. They can threaten the third. This is something that Solar's quite fond of. Does hit the third. Oracle's in position. Forcing Solar back. Speaking of aggression, we have seen Solar's quite fond of 3-base all-ins on Oceanborn. In this matchup, more often than not, Solar does drone up to around 66 workers at his 3-base saturation, and cuts workers, gets into Roaches, into Lings, into Banelings, and does just send it across the map. We'll see if we do get there. Behind this, MaNa taking up into a Forge, into a Twilight Council. Interesting, I was about to take note of the fact that it was a slightly earlier Twilight Council. Alongside a Forge, I was getting some mixed signals, but now we see what it is. It's for charge. Okay. MaNa rushing into charge. Massive gateway explosion as well. 5 gates thrown down. 6 gates in total. So basically, MaNa's working on a very early charge timing. He's going to be moving out with charge ults very early on. The goal is to be catching Solar off guard. Solar does throw down an earlier Roach Warren that was around 4 minutes 30. much earlier than we normally would see against the Stargate opener. So very safe play out of Solar with that Roach Warren. Hit up Shade back. Handful of Roaches are on the way. Again, far earlier than we would ever expect. Solar hasn't gone nice on the tech. Lings are still being active. Being forced back. And it's not like Solar's going for an all-in at the moment. He's just making safety Roaches, still droning. Lair is on the way. Additional Overlords. Zealots are spotted! Yeah, big scouts. Solar, he does get eyes on the charge lots. He's getting ready back at home as Roaches are amassing. Queens are pulling together as well. Even catching some at depths. Yeah, wasting energy on the Oracles. The Zealots have arrived. And Solar is getting ready for it. Like, this push was supposed to be a surprise. It was supposed to catch Solar off guard and have more of a surprise factor to it. But Solar is shutting this down. And MaNa backs off. He backs off. Double Robo on the way. That's gonna be for double Immortal production. This is a bit of a desperation move. This is to get ready for the Roach counterattack with Mass Immortal. And it's so important here that MaNa doesn't lose these Zealots, that he buys time, that he keeps Solar pinned. Because if Solar moves out anytime soon, MaNa has nothing to defend. We need time for these Immortals. Oh, as we are supply blocked. Now is not the time for a supply block, Papi. A pylon just now on the way. This is a heavy supply block for MaNa. Ay, ay, ay. Now a second pylon, the Nexus as well. Thankfully for MaNa, we're not really committed too hard to this Roach Ling push. We have a Spire on the way instead, hidden at the natural. MaNa will be confirmed. Up! We will! The Oracle barely does catch the Spire. A nice scout here from MaNa. Does realize what's going on. Gets a Revelation just to make sure that it isn't cancelled. Spire complete, so we still have a ground army. Yeah, Zealot's forced to charge in. Tinting with the Roaches. Even catching some? Not quite. They go Phoenix production, second Stargate. Getting into Mass Phoenix. Solar splitting up. And I believe we really made a handful of mutas. Okay, there we go. 11 mutas on the way. Lings, they go for the surround. Didn't quite get the Nexus at the same time. Roaches, they push in. And MaNa out of position. He was dragged away by those Lings. And they're busting into the natural. We might not get too much done here. But it's going to be close. The Oracle falls. Zealots, yeah, they keep up with the Roaches. The Roaches are going to be going down. But hey, we catch an Immortal. Not bad. Roaches cleaned up in the main. Queen's waddling across the map. Oh my, calm down. I don't think that was intentional. Solar pulling back. Getting up to 4 bases. I think he's just used to it. He's like, yo, I'm on ocean board. I should be pulling everything, right? He's like, no. It's okay. Let's pull back home. Roach is trading well against the Zealots. Not going to be able to break through, but again, shaving off Zealots here and there wherever they can. Mutas back into the natural. Well, Phoenixes will clean them up, but we don't care. We're done. We get 10 probe kills, and we're working towards Hydras instead. Oh, we are bleeding out a lot of Roaches, though. Initially, the trade wasn't, or was looking quite favorable for Solar, now less so. Every Roach goes down. It's 28 Roaches falling. MaNa setting up a massive counterattack. And Solar, what do we have to defend? We have our Queens, we have a couple of Hydras, or we have quite a lot of Hydras. Not many Roaches, though. Not much of a buffer. And Hydras, they're quite fragile. As I'll say dive in, we have to stutter step back as best we can. Zealots are going down, boys are being pulled. MaNa is committed. We have to make a stand. Drones are caught in the back line, but we do manage to break through the Zealots. We get on top of the Immortals. We focus on the Prism. The Prism survives, but we bleed so much out. And MaNa, what does he survive with? He retains his Immortal counts. The Immortals are kept alive. But Solar, he keeps most of his drones alive. He has an economy. Lurker production has begun. And now MaNa's in trouble. Sure, we retain the Immortals. I mean, they're great and all, but there's very little to support them. I mean, with a high enough Immortal count, we can support each other. True. Mass Immortal can be terrifying. So, run by catches Solar out of position. Drone's going down. The entire army races back home. Solar's still being active. More lurkers on the way. How many lurkers do we have? 4 lurkers so far, soon to be 8. We have the hive, we have upgrades. And MaNa building up his Immortal Archon Storm, kind of death bull of an army. Does need more time as Solar is maxed out. MaNa being distracted. Coming from behind. Busting into the natural once again. Slipping in. Slipping to the natural. We try to catch the army out of position. We had a good storm to react, but that's going to be 11 probes going down. We bust into the main base. We depower almost everything. We depower the tech. We're getting on top of the army. The lurkers, they barely survive. Say that 2 of them go down. Likewise, we have the high ground. The spine shots going off with the High Templar. Oof. Okay, MaNa holds. Likewise, he defends in his main. Solar attempting to remax. Now, if MaNa's able to pull off this defense like 1 or 2 more times, then we can max out. That's where I have to be a little bit concerned for Solar. For now, though, I mean, he's retaining his lurkers. I believe he hasn't made any Vipers. Yeah, no Vipers out of Solar. Just Ling Hydra Lurker. So without Vipers, it is a little bit harder to push into these Immortals. It means we have to kind of brute force our way through. There's a little bit less finesse in Solar's army. Does go for the surround. Ooh, that's a kill. It's a kill, not a cancel on the Nexus. It's a brutal loss. MaNa unable to take a 5th. The army is spotted. We're up to 12 lurkers. That's a lot of lunkers, but more on the way. MaNa pushing in. And we have I want to say 3, maybe 4 more storms available. Coming down to 2. Coming down to 1. Oh. Yeah, we have to back up. we don't have enough storms. It's not going to happen. Bit of a missed rally with these high... Okay, we pull back. I was like, where are the High Templar going? Another one might shut down. Main army pulling back. MaNa is about to max out. Has survived. Plenty of army back at home. Try to catch out the marauding force. Once again, we deny the 5th. Oh my god. Just a sea of lurkers. That's another kill. Oh my god. Not again. We do catch a couple of lurkers in the retreat. Rotating over. Army not quite getting caught out. We do have detection. Mortals, they dive on the army. The High Templar exposed. Massive pickups. High Templar, they go down. Every single one. And we get a full surround. This was not the fight from MaNa. He was chasing down the lurkers. He got surrounded. With that, MaNa has a second army, but we plummeted supply. Those were so many Immortals. Solar barely lost anything. We're still maxed out. Solid storms, though. Third Robo's on the way. Additional Immortals. Picking up 2 more Lurkers. And we do have plenty of storms with this. There's still a lot of potential in this army. But Solar's in position. Is in position. Likewise going for a big counterattack. And Lings, they dive into the main base. Lurkers as well. And MaNa having a hard time keeping up, or at least getting pulled apart. Doesn't have the supply. Doesn't have the supply to defend. That's 24 probes going down. Aye, aye, aye. Likewise, massive storms on the Lurkers. The Lurkers are so softened up. But at least we have control of the main. We have control of the main base. 31 probes falling. Shutting down all the tech, all the production. And now we're all in. Like, it's all or nothing for MaNa. That's a lot of all, though. That's that's 7 Immortals. Pushing on through. Solar making us send massive storms. Oh my god, we're playing the entire army. The storms are looking good. Immortals are breaking through. We knock down the Lurkers. And MaNa is gaining ground. Yeah, another storm on the Hydras. But that was the final storm for MaNa. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for Solar. He is rebuilding. He's remaxing. 10 more Lurkers on the way. If only MaNa wasn't all in. Like, that was a good fight for the Protoss. That was a good fight, but MaNa is down to 1.5 bases. And now we can dive on the army. And just picking away at those Immortals. Try to come in from behind. Catching the Archons at least. Solar pulling back. Did lose a hatchery. Likewise, not the best saturation from Solar either. Does desperately need another base. MaNa expanding. Saturating. Can MaNa still take this? I mean, with this army, anything is possible. With 10 Immortals. Shave off some Hydras. Hydras are shaved off. Big link counterattack hits the third. Hits the fresh base. Oh, and every probe going to be going down. Aye, aye, aye. Yeah, 15, 16 workers falling. Storms are still solid, but we get the base. This is all that matters. We deny mining. We're starving MaNa out. MaNa down to 36 probes. Heavily oversaturated. We catch High Templar. So just peeking away at the main army. And at this point, even in a head-on fight, I don't know if I favor MaNa. Not anymore. Brood Lords are on the way. There's no anti-air. It's pure Immortal. Nothing shoots up. We have Storm. Oh, and even against the Lurkers, we're struggling to break through. Yeah, the Immortals are going down one after the other, even without the Brood Lords. Doesn't even matter. As MaNa loses everything, GG gets called, and Solar takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Again, MaNa was taking some better fights, to be honest. Like, there was some very insane trades that MaNa was taking with his main army, but time and time again, he was kind of pulled out of position. There was a big moment where MaNa got surrounded. Honestly, if it wasn't for that moment on the left-hand side where MaNa got completely surrounded and lost all of his High Templar and Immortals, I think that MaNa may have been able to even take it from there. It was after that moment where Solar took a supply lead and was able to split up his army and go for a run by. That's when Solar busted into the main and got control of the main base as well. If MaNa was able to maintain a second army on the other side of the map, then I mean, that wouldn't have happened. Would have been able to protect that location, and maybe a different game, maybe a different outcome. GG. GG, well played. Solar takes the lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. It's going to be on Alcyone. We go. At spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alcyone, we have our Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg, representing Team Vitality. It is Solar. Here we go. So we are settling in. Solar once again forcing the unnatural natural. MaNa back at home. Going for a gate expand. We're calming things down. We're settling in. We are settling into game 2. We're going to be loading into Alcyone. Alcyone, known for its longer macro play, known for its late game. What I refer to is that it's a little bit more difficult to really pull off all-ins on this map just because of the Zanaga. You have control of the center of the map, you can scout these big pushes early on. Likewise, we have these big ramps here leading to the third or even in towards the natural. So a little bit harder to break through. Likewise, the fourth base also very secure as well. So we could be in for a longer one. Could be. As a reminder, last game was a little bit wonky. Like, there was a lot coming into it. If you remember, MaNa started things off with a charge timing, like a +1 charge timing, which he missed. Solar was ready for it, and the Zelds weren't able to really get much damage done. Did lead into MaNa, like, desperately getting into double Robot Immortal production, which he did successfully do. Did get into it, and led into a more back and forth. But MaNa did have a rough start to game 1. Hoping we can tighten things up here in game number 2. Keep our eyes on MaNa. As we're going for a tech of choice, going to be another Stargate opener. Stargate into Oracle. Last game, the Oracle harass didn't really do much. Solar was able to scout ahead of time, was ready for it, and yeah, the Oracles didn't really get any drone kills. See if MaNa does fare better. It's moving out. Solar getting ready. A handful of links at the natural. Queens are in position. And this first adept is just to scouts. We can maybe pick up a drone. But the links are ready. Once again, Solar moving out with that Solar Link Scout. Getting guys on the third base. They'll slip in. Once again, Solar will get eyes on the Stargate and the Oracle. Solar like he sees all, he knows all. Yeah, it's not unheard of to see like a Void Ray opener or a Phoenix opener. It does come from the second Oracle. Lings are moving out. Oracles are on the way. We have 2 queens here at the natural, or at the third. 2 queens in the main. And the Lings, it looks like we do catch an Adept. Oh! Oh! We get one! We get one, and it looks like we get the second Adept as well. Nice clean up there at a Solar. Oracle dives in. Catching 3 drones. Not bad. 3 workers go down. We take a bit of hull damage, and we're forcing the army back home. The Oracle has arrived. We do barely save the pylon. Solar reinforces, and he can go back in. We have our depths. We're okay. Oh, we should be okay as Solar doesn't fully commit into the base. Does pull away. Confirming the follow-up. It's going to be a Forge, Twilight Council, 3rd Oracle. Another probe goes down. Doesn't sound like a lot, but every worker counts, especially this early on. Solar is ready to defend. We have 4 queens here on the front lines. The Oracle's going to be deflected. Lair's on the way. Roach Warren, that is standard timing here for Solar. Not too early. We do catch a couple of drones though. 1 drone goes down. We get a oh, we barely do get a second. Second probe as well. As Solar's going to be quite aggressive here, but oh, we do have control of the center of the Zonaga. We get 1. 1 Adept goes down. Not the best trade here for Solar. It was a brutal position. Back at home we have a wall. And that does impact the droning of Solar. His 4th base is on the horizon. A little bit later than we would have liked. It's a little bit later. Overseer on the way. Gonna get a scout off, and MaNa is going for a bit of an earlier prism here. With this prism, we can move out. We can even try to harass. Link is finishing up +1 as well. We do have a bit of a gateway explosion. How many gateways do we have? Just the 2 for now. Soon to be 6. On 3 bases, it's standard. As we take 2 more. Interesting. Getting up to 8 gates. We have taken extra gases, and it looks like that's going to be for the Archons. Setting up for an Archon drop, throwing down extra gateways, getting up to 10 gates. Wait, what? Okay, we're good. It's like there was a bit of a pause. So we're getting up to 9 gateways even. But yeah, no 4th base in sight for MaNa. Looks like we are going to be committing. Just warping in across the map. Just going to be warping in at the same time. Solar going to be committing as well. Solar, he has cut workers. There's no saturation at the 4th. Okay, I was expecting this on Oceanborn, but Solar is going for a 3-base all-in. Straight up 3-base all-in here out of Solar. But MaNa has plenty to work with. And did go for a massive gateway explosion. Stage trap getting set up. Overcharge is popped. Queens are dropping in, but they're being focused down. And the Queens are falling. The cannon and the shield battery, they hold strong. And MaNa's not going to be broken. Leads out an Archon. The Lings are on the way. Solar's committed. And he's backing off. 16 drones. This droning is late. Solar is working on that next step. Droning, infestation bit, Hydrogen. But all this tech is so delayed. We can shut down the Queens. Prism did race home. Oh! That's the last connect. But I am concerned for Solar now. Now, Solar, he is joining up to 75, and he's taking up towards Hive Tech, towards Hydras, and towards Lurkers. This is all well and good. The problem is that because Solar was so committed, and because he bled out so much, it means that he's vulnerable. We're soon going to counterattack. Like, this army, when he moves out across the map, Solar's going to have that much less to defend. So you can see Solar, he's being as active as possible. He's trying to buy as much time. He's trying to keep MaNa pinned back. It's very similar to the previous game, but the roles kind of reversed. Solar keeping the army busy. At least there's no fourth base from the Protoss. Focus on some of those Stalkers. Soul's got eyes on the right, but doesn't get eyes on the left. We do expand. Solar unawares. Still building up. The Oracle's catching the Queen. Catching Ravagers as well. And as we're taking up towards Lurkers, we have Storm finishing up. And for Immortals, I believe only one Robo. Yeah, just the one Robo for MaNa. Charge on the way. Reaper's receding. And do we have much in these fringe bases? Not much to defend. Not much in position. So MaNa has potential. These Zerkers, they still need a little bit more time. Their upgrades are finishing up. So being knocked down. We're up to 8, soon to be 10 Lurkers. Pushing through the center. The Prism headed for the main. Zealous, they're going for the fourth. Prism into the main. Roaches are getting caught out. We are dragging the army back home. Massive warp in. And the tech is exposed. At the same time, we head for the gold. And MaNa is being dragged back home. Dragged back into the main base. And even then, we're struggling. 16 drones going down. The hatchery falls. And now we're going for the fourth. And where are the Lurkers? We're just unable to keep up. Just can't keep up. Lurkers are getting within range. Storms, they land. And can we get the hatchery? Storms once again. Hydra's getting picked up. There's no support. Lurkers are exposed, and we just blink on forward. A bold blink here out of MaNa. Losing a lot of Storms in the process. Oh, that wasn't the best trade from the Protoss player, but we do reset the Lurker count. Zealots, they have warped in. They will reinforce. And the hatchery goes down. And Solar getting pulled apart. Good target firing out of MaNa. Does get the final Lurker. Lurker count gets reset. MaNa does have to back off again. We had a brutal moment where we blinked on top of the army and we lost all our Stalkers. But that was worth it. MaNa, he's up on Workers. He did lose the fourth amidst all of this. Does have the better economy. Maxing back at home. Carriers on the way. We have the Fleet Beacon. We have the Stargate. +1 air attack. And the carrier. Looks like we will get a kill on the next every game. Do you get a kill on the fourth? Not a cancel. MaNa pinned back home. Meanwhile, Solar, he's stuck redroning, taking the gold. That is the way to recover. Despite being down in Workers and down in economy, the gold base can make up for that. Can. To get the revelation. MaNa not giving Solar any time. Moving out across the map, and the goal base is going to be denied. Oof. At the same time, we deny the fourth. Fourth base is denied for both players, but this is better for the Protoss. As we're stuck on an even base count. Carrier is revealed. Just the one carrier, I believe. Yeah, just the one. How many Hydras do we have? 12. We have a decent Hydra count. We have some anti-air. I mean, it's going to melt to the storms, but we have some anti-air. That was very clear, just taking defensive stance once again, trying to get into the goal base. Is on the way. MaNa rotating around. Headed for the gold. Would you force another cancel? We have Lings out there looking for potentially a surround. Oh. We've had actually quite a number of pulls throughout this series, so I hope everything was okay at the time. Is that the third pause? As Lings are being active. Tempest is revealed. Making 2 more Tempests at a time. Let's go. Fourth base on the way. The Lings! Oh my god. Juggling go down. Solar attempting to expand on the left-hand side. We do get eyes on this. The army rotates over. Revelation on the lurkers. Pushing into 14 lurkers. Not going to be easy. The first Viper has arrived. Up the storm. Oh my god. Storm's going to be going up. Connections on the army. Zealot run by the right-hand side. 4 drones going to be going down. The carries, they pick off another lurker. The Viper wants to go. We get the feedback. No. The Viper goes down. There are no abductions. No yoinks. Yeah, now the carriers and Tempest, they can push in. Yeah, there's nothing to threaten them. Another Revelation. And a Storm. Did cost us the High Templar, but we can be more cavalier with the Sky Toss. I'd love to see the Tempest being a little bit more active. Oh my god, the Storms! A brutal Storm on the Hydras. We do get them some of the carriers, though. A bit of miscontrol out of MaNa. It bleeds out a carrier. We're going to bleed out a second. But the Storms are brutal, and we're running out of Hydras. We're running out of anti-air. There's nothing left. GG gets called, and MaNa ties up the series 1-1. GG. We are going to the ace match again. Behind that, MaNa had the 4th base, and yeah, this was just a rough game for Solar. As a reminder, Solar went for a 3-base all-in. He cut workers at 67, and he just sent it across the map. And it looked like he happened to be going up against MaNa, who was also going for a 3-base all-in. MaNa had went up to 10 gates on 3 bases. It was crazy how many gateways he had. So when Solar showed up, MaNa already had an army. He had a pretty massive army waiting for him. Solar got shut down, and Solar fell behind tech-wise. He had to try to catch up, he had to try to saturate, and it was a rocky road there for Solar after the failed all-in, and in the end, MaNa was able to punish him. I mean, I say that wasn't that easy. It was still very close back and forth where both players were struggling to expand. For the most part, MaNa was in the driver's seat and was a little bit more in control. And with that, we're going to the ace match. We're going all the way to game 3. Here we go. So we're getting into that ace match, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ghost River, we have our Polish Protoss player. The red Protoss representing Team Liquid. And again, forcing the ace match, forcing game 3, it is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Team Vitality. Forced into game 3. Can he bring it back? It is Solar. Here we go. Okay, loading into Ghost River, another very aggressive map here in the map pool. Very small, very congested as well. It's a very short rush distance by ground from base to base. And because we do see a lot of all-ins on this map from both sides, from both the side of Protoss and the side of Zerg. So I'm curious to see where both players take this. And when we start making drones. When do we cut saturation? When does it happen? For now, hash gas full, standard opener out of Solar. Likewise, standard opener from MaNa. The openers are standard, but we're really keeping an eye on the drone count to see if Solar cuts workers at 2-base saturation for a 2-base all-in, you know, an early gas geyser, an early roach warren. Likewise, the timing of the Twilight Council for MaNa, even if it's a Stargate opener, we could see a fast Twilight Council before the 3rd to go into an 8-gate Blink all-in, for example, or Glaive Adepts. There are these more aggressive timings with tech as the game develops. Well, we're getting there, Pac. We're getting there. Saturation is the myth. You never have enough workers. Smurge. We've seen players with too many workers, okay? Look, I've seen Raider with like over 100 drones, and sometimes it doesn't end well. It doesn't. Oh, the workers. For now, going down to take of choice, going for a Stargate opener. Once again. No Twilight Council play early on for MaNa. MaNa's being as annoying as possible, does lay the 3rd base. Force a cancel, and the 3rd is now being taken. Just a bit of a delay. Nothing too substantial. Rope does retreat. If we didn't have those fallings back at home, then the Adept would have gotten here, would have shaded across the map, and we would have delayed the 3rd base, maybe even killed the drone, and it would have been a bit of a different setup. But thankfully, the Lings were back. And we hold. Just mine out the entire map before the opponent can build an army. True, true. That's all you need to do, man. Just take their money. Take their minerals. So getting into our Oracle opener. Ooh, okay. This is what I was waiting for. This is wild. So I was waiting to see a Twilight Council before the 3rd, and we do throw down a tech structure before the 3rd base, but that's going to be a Robo instead. I haven't seen this variation before. All right, MaNa, you have my attention. Robo into Twilight Council. Is this for a fast Templar Archives? No, I mean we would have delayed our Robo if that was the case. Oracle gets across the map. Does dip in. A single drone kill as Solar is still saturating his bases. Gateway's on the way. Is this going to be for... I was going to say for like an Immortal Slow Lord all in. But then what's the Twilight Council for? It's going to be for the Temple Archives, right? Show us the Temple Archives. Oh, there it is. Let's go. Okay, Archons. So we're rushing into Archon production. So it's going to be a 2-base all in with Archons and with vanilla gateway units. This is not something you see every day. Especially off of a Stargate opener. That's the twist here. Overlord gets forced away. Solar sees nothing in the main. Solar is in the dark. Now we're getting up to 4 gateways. We will expand. I'm curious, is this a variation? Creator does this sometimes as well, With Creator, he goes for a delayed Archon drop opener into a macro game. I'm curious if that's the plan here. If we're just going to be harassing with Archons and just defending and probing up. We saw this kind of rise up last year, like I want to say around August, September of 2023. Archons then dropped across the map. Going for the Queens. Clutch Transfuse. But the Queens, they will survive. One Queen goes down. We're going for the Prism. Oh my god. Okay, Prism does escape. Behind this, Immortals are building up. Third base is being taken. And we should be working toward... never mind. I was going to say we should be working towards like an Immortal Archon push. And we are, kind of. But like, that's a Forge. That's going to be for +1. Second rover for double Immortal production. Looks like MaNa is gearing up for the mid game. He's macroing. Setting up for a longer game. Prism thankfully did survive. We'll see if MaNa can find some more damage. Does hit the hatchery. Looking for a cancel, hoping for a cancel. Oh, we're almost there. Couple more hits, and it looks like we do force it. And we cancel the fourth base at least once. That's a kill, not a cancel. Oh my god, 300 minerals down the drain. Very nice pick up from MaNa. Risky move, but it does pay off. And meanwhile, we're getting into Swarm Host. My apologies, I missed out on the fast infestation pits. But I do like this. This does make sense. So basically, because of the Archon drop opener, Solar, he's reading this as Charged Archon, which is correct. It is Charged Archon. So it is the correct response to go into Swarm Host play. For those that are unfamiliar, Swarm Host play are very common against these kind of compositions. The reason for this is because there's no Blink Stalkers. The mobility of MaNa's army is a little bit lower, which means it's harder to catch these Swarm Hosts. We do get the Revelation. We do get eyes on the Swarm Host. Basically, against Blink Openers, because of how mobile and how active Blink Stalkers are, you can punish Swarm Hosts after the Locust Wave runs out. Here against Charged Archon, you can't really punish them as much, as we can just Locust Wave and then back off. Locust Wave into the natural. Going for the cannons, going for the shield battery, yes, shutting down the static defense. Going for the Nexus. I'm not sure if we can get it. It's going to be close, and it looks like we will. Yeah, just barely. Nexus does go down. Massive pickup. Once again, the fourth is denied. But at least we denied the natural of MaNa. And we're getting ready for another Locust Wave. And again, this first Locust Wave is the most important. What did we get? We got a Nexus, and that means we can just keep shutting down this Nexus over and over again. And just never allow it to finish. Solar threatening the third. Now, what MaNa is building up over time as he's losing bases and as these Locust Waves are getting damage done is the main army. The Immortal count and the Archon count is getting higher. Is terrifying. Once again, we dive into the side defense. We get the cannons, we get an Archon, shield battery. Ooh, second Archon does survive at the same time we dive on top of these Immortals. We get one. With Immortal, we get some High Templar. Very nice target firing out of Solar. Target firing was on point. Solar pulling MaNa apart. Archon drop coming in to try to punish. Sorry, Immortal drop coming in to try and punish the Swarm Host. She managed to catch one. The Prism! Oh my god, the Prism goes down. Massive pickoff. Solar's maxed out and MaNa just cannot keep up. Not anymore. Here comes the final Locust Wave. Getting on top of the army. And there's nothing left. GG gets called. MaNa will tap out and Solar takes the series 2-1. Taking down MaNa. GG. GG, well played. Solar will take it. A really interesting opener out of MaNa. It's something that we rarely get to see. We have seen these variations. The last time I saw this really be prominent was it Altitude? That was like 2 seasons ago. I remember Creator being fond of these kind of openers back in the Altitude map pool. Going for these kind of like delayed Archon drops, with the Temple Archives, getting into Immortal production, getting into like this death pool of an army in the mid game. And it has its place. It's a very niche build, and we saw that as soon as we recognize it, Solar rush into Swarm Host, which is ideal. Swarm Host able to have a little bit more free reign against Charge Archon, and yeah, we saw MaNa just having a hard time keeping up with those Locust waves. GG, Solar keeps his run alive, and MaNa is eliminated from DreamHack Dallas. And with that, we're going to be venturing back up into the upper bracket. Oh boy, again, we saw earlier Showdown and Rogue advance on into the upper brackets, which means up next we have Rogue versus Showdown in another ZvP. We also have a Laser versus Skilless, as they are the other 2 Zerg and Protoss players in the group. I mentioned before that this is Group B, is just full of pure Protoss and Zerg. All the Terrans were in other groups instead. That is why we didn't cast this live. That is why we were focusing on Group A at the time. So that's why we're catching up on Group B afterwards. Now we are halfway through the broadcast. We have 3 series left, so we're going to be going on a short break here. And when we return, we will have Rogue versus Showdown. That's the plan. See you soon for that ZvP.